Hey everyone, welcome back to My Unprofessional Opinion Podcast. I'm your host, Angela. So for today's episode, I'm going to be talking about when you feel rejected. I think rejection is a big thing that a lot of people have gone through at some point in their lives. So I think that it could be an interesting topic. So I came up with a few different points that we'll just dive into a little bit. So I think the first thing to remember is knowing that each no is getting you one step closer to a yes. And whatever it is that you're going for, whether it's a job, a relationship, a friendship, or some other opportunity, it's really easy to get caught up in being rejected and saying like, oh, why is this not happening? I've trained for this. I've gone to school for this. I thought it was all like the best. I thought this was going to happen or whatever it might be. And it's so easy to get caught up in that. And I think that's the first issue, because if you're going to get caught up in that, then it's really just going to consume your mind and you're not going to be able to move on, because you have to deal with it and be like, hey, that's a no for right now. It might happen later. We don't know. But whatever it is, you do have to move on. So Romans 12:12 says, rejoice in hope, be patient in tribulation, be constant in prayer. And this life was not meant to be easy. That's why we really just need to be constantly in prayer. We need to rejoice in hope. And it's so important to really just remember that, especially when times are tough. And the second point, it's, whether it's hard to hear it, just know that whatever happens in the end, that's what you really need. It might not be what you asked for, but, God has planned your life. He knows exactly what is going to happen, when it's going to happen. So you might be saying, oh, I want to have this job opportunity now. But he's like, nah, wait a few years, wait 2 weeks. I don't know, whatever it might be. Or you might be looking at that boy and saying, oh, he's the one I'm going to marry. And then God's like, nah, fam, you're 12 years old. You got time. Just like love me right now and we'll deal with this in a few years. Because like I said, I think it's important to have goals, to have dreams, to have things that you're working for. But it's so important to trust God's plan for your life, because it says in Jeremiah 29:11, for I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you a hope and a future. And he's not just saying that lightly. It says he's going to give you a hope and a future. You just really have to trust that he is going to guide you. You need to follow in his steps. So I think that's why it's so important to be in prayer, to be in his word, and really just get to know him and build that relationship. Because when I was planning for this episode particularly, I was just trying to come up with what I wanted to say. And one thing that came out to me was, the best things that happen, they happen normally because of hard work, so if everything in this life was just given to you, then what's the point? What's the point of needing God? You wouldn't, because you'd be like, oh, it's all good. Like, I got this, blah, blah, blah. So I think that's another point where it can be really easy to just look and be like, I want this right now, but God's like, nah, you need this, fam. Because the best things in life take effort and they take practice, they take hard work. I think it can be interesting to look at it this way. So if you just got every single thing you ever wanted in life, that could be great. But if you look at it from the perspective that if that did happen, what would be the point of needing God in your life? And I mean, if you're not a Christian, you're like, well, I don't, blah, blah, blah. As Christians, I think it's really important to know that we're following God because we need him. We can't do anything in this life without him. But it's like in this life, the best things take work. They take effort. They take perseverance that you're going to get through. And so I think it's really just important to remember that and to trust that, you might not be getting everything you need right now. So you're going to get rejected from whatever. But knowing that, just keep going, just keep persevering, and you're going to get through this. God has got an amazing plan for you, and just trying to keep that at the forefront of your mind, I think, can just really make a huge difference. And the third and final point is to not just be sad and down when things don't work out the way that you want them to. And I know that this is a lot easier said than done, but it's so important to just shake it off and realize, okay, this isn't the plan for my life right now. Maybe in the future, I don't know. You just got to keep working, keep growing, and, just move on. Because I think a lot of times people can see rejection as a sign of failure or weakness or something like that. But for whatever reason, that's just not where you're supposed to be in your life right now. And that might be really hard to hear. Maybe you haven't come to that realization, but you were rejected for whatever it is for a reason. So in those times of rejection, just really remember 1 Thessalonians 5:16-18, which says, "Rejoice always, pray without ceasing, give thanks in all circumstances, for this is the will of God in Christ Jesus for you." And on that note, I think this is a good place to end this episode of My Unprofessional Opinion Podcast. I've been your host, Angela. Thanks so much for listening. And yeah, if you liked it, give it a like, subscribe, comment, and I hope that you tune in next time. Bye, folks.